Republican opponents blast Biden's border plan. Republican opponents and some Democratic friends of U.S. President Joe Biden have criticized his recent executive action intended to reduce historic levels of immigration at the U.S.-Mexico border. The directive went into force at midnight and allows authorities to swiftly deport people who are entering the country illegally without first considering their petitions for asylum. Concerns have been raised by left-wing Democrats, activists, and the UN, while Republicans have criticized the plan as a gimmick for the election season and called for more forceful action. However, Mr. Biden claims that his Republican rivals obstructed a bipartisan agreement on border security that was rejected earlier this year in Congress. The Republican nominee for president in November, former U.S. President Donald Trump, criticized Mr. Biden's executive action on Tuesday. On social media, Mr. Trump claimed that Mr. Biden had surrendered our southern border and was now pretending to finally do something about it. Others who agreed with him included Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. The president retaliated, calling the Trump administration's pressure on Republican members to obstruct the proposed border plan in Congress earlier in the year a very cynical political move. With an executive order, the president promised to help us gain control of our border during his speech on Tuesday. He begged the forbearance of his left-wing detractors. He declared, "There is no option to do nothing." Tuesday, a group of roughly 12 activists and Democratic lawmakers held their own press conference outside the U.S. Capitol to express their disapproval of Mr. Biden's choice. The Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair, Pramila Jayapal, expressed her profound disappointment and described the directive as a step in the wrong direction. Under Mr. Biden's presidency, more than 6.4 million illegal immigrants have been prevented from entering the U.S. This year's arrival numbers have drastically decreased, but analysts don't think this trend will last. The White House claims that the fresh order will be in effect when high levels of encounters at the southern border exceed our ability to deliver timely consequences, as is the case today. When 2,500 crossings occur on average each day over a 7-day period, a state the White House refers to as overwhelmed, the limitations will be put into place. They will make it easier for immigration officers to quickly remove individuals who do not have a legal basis to remain, officials said. The border will reopen to migrants 2 weeks after it closes to asylum seekers, provided that the average number remains at 1,500 over a 7-day period. Additional steps are meant to hasten removals for those who are determined to have no legal basis for remaining in the U.S., as well as the prompt resolution of immigration issues in court. Under the directive, asylum procedures at ports of entry will continue. Every day, about 1,500 asylum seekers go through the formal crossing process. Most of them make appointments using the CBP One app, which is developed by Customs and Border Protection. Using a 1952 legislation that permits limiting entry to the asylum system was one of the declared measures. A president may suspend the entry of foreign nationals if the statute, known as 212F, determines that their arrival would be detrimental to the interests of the nation. Accusations of bigotry were raised when the Trump administration used the same law to forbid immigration and travel from a number of countries with a large Muslim population, as well as to prevent migrants from obtaining asylum if they were caught entering the country illegally. Jenny Murray, the president and CEO of the National Immigration Forum, expressed regret that politics is pushing the immigration debate in a more limited way. The announcement was referred to as a direct assault on the fundamental human right to seek asylum by Gerline Joseph, executive director of Haitian Bridge Alliance, an organization that assists Haitian refugees at the border. A representative for the UN Refugee Agency emphasized that access to secure territory is essential for those who fear persecution. Mr. Biden is having trouble with the immigration issue in this election year. If Trump gets re-elected, he has promised to carry out the largest deportation operation in American history in order to get rid of undocumented immigrants. Officials from the Biden administration have rejected similarities to Trump administration measures, arguing that the new regulations unveiled on Tuesday would only be used during spikes in immigration. They promised to make exceptions for youngsters traveling alone and people who are being trafficked. The risk that Ms. Jayapal emphasized is that the Biden administration intends to defend the new regulations in court against any legal challenges that may arise. Although President Andrés Manuel López Obrador attempted to downplay the issue by claiming that economic and cultural interchange made a border closure impossible. Mexican media has portrayed the decision as one of Mr. Biden's toughest policies. Tijuana officials questioned what would happen to asylum applicants who were turned away from the United States. A local authority in the Mexican city issued a warning that shelters would soon become overcrowded. People sleeping in tents on the streets would start to appear to us.